All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. How we doing? Today I finally get a haircut. Long awaited. Good morning to all the familiar faces. All right, so today, interesting day. We got some data to start the day, which we will, it's fill in the blank quote day. I'm going to give it to you in video. What do you want? What's the quote up there today? Give me something. Today, yeah, pretty much Ghost, right? It's been the right call. Holding the shares, man. Long-term portfolio has been just, it's just on fire. That's what it's all about. But today, some data. Let's see how it reacts to the market. Let's see how the market reacts to that data. Big move overnight yesterday because of the CapEX on Google's earnings. So Google spending more money on semiconductors, creating some major upside on Broadcom, a little bit on NVIDIA and AMD, but mostly Broadcom. Broadcom, huge move with that CapEX on Google's earnings. So really big there, something to watch for sure. Tesla down, sort of expected, really not surprised. Tesla sort of just right in the channel, really not any type of big move for Tesla. It's pretty much all within the expected move. So I think just a day to stay away, right, from Tesla again and just focus on the stuff that's hot. Semiconductors, that's really it, man. Semis are just red hot. Every pullback's a great long. Just going to continue to try to tailor in my strategy to do that. Yesterday, a little bit messed up on a few trades, but end of the day, really nice on SPX. That was an awesome break and retest over the all-time high, which I will go over today. Let's do the quote is just, here's your quote, man. That's your quote. TTL. Trust the levels. Because if there's anything you do in this market in specific, it is to trust the levels on the chart because they are just absolutely incredibly beautiful. Yesterday, pullback longs, previous day highs on the SPY. Pullback longs, the exact low of the previous day on the Nasdaq. So, again, just the levels. Again and again. So let's jump in. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Here we go. Wow, that camera's a little high on me today. Oh, it's not too bad, actually. But let me get some light on me. There we go. You guys like that little olive tree in the background? It's a nice little vibe right back there, isn't it? Jim, appreciate that, Jim. Thank you, brother. I just saw, and I'm going to have to, I saw our buddy Matt at Trade Brigade. I saw he got a new intro. I'm going to have to get on that. Because I've been wanting to do an intro like that for a long time. I might have to ask him where he got that from. He may think I'm copying him, but we'll have to. It's the Dr. Disrespect vibes. So I got to get that going for sure. Long overdue for a new intro, aren't we? Where's Amped? I already got Amped working on other stuff, so I don't know if I can give him more work, but yeah, I love it. Shout out TB. What an intro. All right, so today, Nasdaq futures. Yesterday, actually, you know what? Let's start with the ES yesterday. Let's start with the ES today. So, yesterday, what does the S&P 500 do? S&P 500 pulls right back towards those previous day highs, holds them beautifully at our 63.57 to 63.50. This was our exact level we had on the S&P, and I already realized I'm skipping the economic data. So let me go to economic data, and let's go to that first before I skip past all that. So just so you guys know, I'm sure you're already aware, economic data, unemployment claims, manufacturing PMI, services PMI today. So pre-market, 8:30, in about 25 minutes, we will have this event. Let's see how the market reacts. 15 minutes in the open, we have PMI. So nice little day to stay, chill back, relax, maybe pop in a Zyn, drink a little coffee, whatever your vice is in the morning, and wait for the 9:45 data to come out, right? Wait for 9:45, let that pass, see what the market does on that, and then start to trade, maybe on a range break of, maybe the 15-minute orb or something like that, right? Get a little break and retest, whatever it might be. I say we wait for that 945 to hit, and then we see what happens then. We do have home sales at 10, which I don't think it's going to be that major. But 945, I think you do wait for that today. I think it's smart. Earnings, really nothing. Really, it was just yesterday, Google and Tesla. So we saw Google, very strong comeback after the drop into the 190s, came back and holding over 195. We'll talk about this today. This is a very important hold going on Google. And then Tesla down. That 336 level was just a brick wall on Tesla. But Tesla really hasn't broken anything major, my friends. Tesla basically just gave back the last week of price action. So I can't say that this is that big of a move for Tesla, right? Previous lows, you're right back into those lows. Could this be a buying opportunity? It could be if you trade the technicals here. So we'll see. We'll see what happens at 308, 305. We'll go over this in just a second. But with that said, let's go to the S&P 500. So S&P 500, our pullback level yesterday was right between the 63.50 and 63.57 area. It was these previous highs right here, right? We saw a pre-market push, and we said, all right, we're opening at the highs in the pre-market. What does that warrant, right? When we open at supply highs in a pre-market, what does that warrant? It warrants a pullback, right? You can see right here. Here's your major highs. You open yesterday pre-market at those highs. You don't want to long right into these highs here. What do you want to see? You want to see a pullback to previous day highs. That's what happens. You pull back and you rip. Just an incredible move on the S&P. So textbook, so technically sound, again, on the market. Where I longed yesterday was a break and retest of that 74 all-time high, which was just as beautiful. If you know, we have that 74 high here, right? And I just basically took a long here over that 74, gave it this low at 70, basically used this as my demand zone, and caught this long with the group to end the day for 160%. So what a beautiful long there. You can see even through this little panic, still held that key level and continued higher. So what a beautiful break and retest above those highs yesterday midday. You got the expansion move, you got the pullback, you got the consolidation right above that high, and it led to the next move. Textbook analysis, textbook technicals, beautiful. Now, that's in the past. What's today, right? What's today? Today, I think, personally, you would want to pull back to this level. And I know that sort of seems far away, and it seems like it may not be likely. But I do personally believe that this is where you want to pull back for your next really nice long opportunity. I don't really feel comfortable being long inside of this range where you basically just went straight up yesterday, right here. I don't like being long on this right here. I think this is really the very structured long is back down at 70, 74, right? This is really where that real structure comes back in, right? Where there's a lot of buyers probably stacked up at these highs, at yesterday's breakout point. I'm sure that's going to be a great spot for 63.70, 63.74 for longs. Now, do we get there? That's the question. I don't know, right? There could be some levels that step up before that today that could create a long. The first one that I'm seeing is maybe this 93 spot, right? You can see 93, 93, 93, and maybe it's just a little pre-market hold at 93 that creates the next leg higher. It's very possible. Could it be back maybe at this high and maybe this low? Could it be back at like the 85s? Yes. But I just don't like these. These are very short-term spots, right? This, you don't see this, right? Pay attention to what I'm about to say because it's very important. You don't see those levels on the 4-hour chart, right? See this? See the 4-hour chart? You cannot make a level in between this area, right? If I delete that, you cannot make levels in between this 4-hour candle. You have no basis on where to put that, right? Where's the next 4-hour level? Right here at 74. That's the best pullback right there, right? That's where the pullback should be. That's where you should be aggressively long on a break and retest of that level, right? You don't see those levels on the 4-hour chart. And this is where a lot of people get screwed up because they're charting on like the 1 minute, right? And they're marking out levels here, They're marking out levels here. They got a level here. They got a level here, right? And they're thinking every single one of these is a pullback long, and they keep breaking. And you're like, why are they breaking, right? Why aren't these levels holding? It's just they're not substantial levels, right? So I don't really like the long anywhere today, to be honest, unless it's back at 70, 74, right? To be quite fair, right? That's really the only spot I'd say is really interesting today. It's either there or it's over the highs. That's really it. It's either here or it's over these highs, right? It's either one of these or one of these, right? That's it. I don't really like anywhere in here. It's just not major. So, right, might require some patience today. Might require some ability to not FOMO before we get these pullbacks, these deeper pullbacks that I think provide better opportunities. We'll see. Scouting, appreciate that, brother. This is the same concept for the SPY, my friends, right? We go over to the SPY ETF, and you can see it's the exact same thing, right? Look at this. Monday's highs. Here's your break and retest long yesterday, and that continues to be, in my eyes, the best long at 631.50, right? That really is where I think is the best long. 631.50, and yesterday we pulled back to the previous day high pretty much perfectly on the SPY at 630. What a beautiful little break and retest long, right? This is the same exact concept as yesterday's long, right? You gap up, you pull back to the previous day high, you long. You gap up, you pull back to the previous day high, which is really up here, but you know, that's not really where the structure is. It's here, right? It's here, and it's here. It's just a big move, and I don't know if you're gonna get it with how bullish the market is, right? That's the thing that I'm sort of questioned on. But we shall see. It's either that or it's a high over the 635 rejection point, right? It's a long over the 635 rejection point. That's the other spot right here. It could just be, you know, one of those days where you just have that breakout and continuation move, get over the 635 highs, use that as your stop loss, and see if you can get that continuation. If it's not there and we reject this high today, I'm really tempted to just let this fall, right, back to the 631.50. We shall see, because again, on the 4-hour chart, right, you do not see those levels until here. So just pay attention to that. Now, here is what possibly gives you more insight to where that ES may hold and where that Nasdaq and that SPY may hold. And that is the Nasdaq futures. So the Nasdaq futures are showing a very nice level to potentially look long off of without a deeper pullback. And that is right here. That is the Tuesday highs, right? And you can see, look what's happening at that exact level as we speak. You can see a reclaim of Tuesday's highs holding as new lows in the pre-market. Now this, I believe, could be a great long. And this would not require deeper pullbacks on the Nasdaq futures. This, I don't believe you need to have a deeper pullback off of. A reclaim of this Tuesday high is an influential spot. And this could just be where this rockets off of, without a doubt. And if that happens, then you're not getting this pullback on the SPY. You're not. If the Nasdaq futures holds over this Tuesday high reclaim, you are not getting a deeper pullback on the market. If you fail this, if you fail under 23,350 and you fail back under this Tuesday high, that is when you get your pullback to the 23,270. That is when you get your deeper pullback on the SPY. That is when you get this move right here. That's if you fail under 23,350. Okay? So, that's what I would be watching. Right? Beautiful previous highs, reclaiming them in the pre-market. Look how strong that's holding right now. This could be the long to be looking for today. If you get over this high at 23,425, you're going. I mean, simply put, you're going. So this is your little no trade zone, I'd say, right here on the Nasdaq. Let this consolidate, right? You could either look for a long here or a long above here, right? You can either look for a long here or a long above here. That's what I would look for today. If you fail this level, you are coming back down to 270, without a doubt. Back to 270 would then be a great pickup, right, for some refueled longs. QQQ, it's the exact same look. Tuesday double top highs here at 564.30. Look at the hold that's coming in. Look for that to hold today. If that holds, you're likely going higher. A break over 566 gives you that break and retest breakout to new highs. Pullback longs would happen here at 563, 562.50 if you do fail that 564. Okay, very clear. Very clear. I think I like the Nasdaq more than anything else today. A very clean technical move here on the Nasdaq. And guess what? You want to see something magical? You guys know the Reclaim Ripper, right? Let's trademark that. Reclaim Ripper, RR, right? TM, RRTM, Reclaim Ripper. Where is the Reclaim Ripper? Who can tell me? Where is it? I want to see who can do it. Where's the Reclaim Rip? That was so important yesterday. There's a very clean spot here on the Nasdaq futures. And while we wait, press that like button. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you guys could. 600 likes, 2,200 people. Press that like button for me. There's Bart. Bart got it. 23,270. Right here. Look at this. See these lows right here? See this? From Tuesday pre-market. See how we failed this, right? And then couldn't get back above it? We failed it all day Tuesday. And we failed it all day yesterday, right? We just could not get back above that 23,270 all day yesterday and all day the day prior. Now look what happens when you break and hold above that. Look at this. Break, retest, reclaim, rip. I mean, that was perfection on the Nasdaq futures yesterday. It couldn't get any more perfect. Previous lows turning into rejections, turning back into lows. Unbelievable. Putting all of these shorts, just ripped them all. Everyone that was short underneath 270, ripped right there. Insane move. Technical levels just spot on. Look at these highs here. This is the same thing, right? Previous high, you're reclaiming those. If you hold above this today, you are going higher. If you fail back under it, shorts get fueled back down to the 270. Beautiful. IWM, nice hold to the 224 spot, sort of a new spot that I sort of put on today. You can see it's starting to try to build, I believe, at these previous highs, 224s, 224 area. Looks like it's trying to build above that. That 220 held, now 224 is holding. What do you need to see today? I think you need to see a hold over 226. If you can get a hold over 226 today on the IWM, I think you're good to go, right? Over 226 on the IWM, I don't really see anything until these highs at 230. So I would watch IWM 226 today to see if that can hold. SMH, daily 20 SMA. Look at the pullback to the daily 20 on the SMH. Yesterday, daily chart. Look at the daily 20 right here on the daily chart. Little bullish wick right off the daily 20. Unbelievable. Beautiful, beautiful daily candle right off that daily 20. Now what are we watching? We need to see if the SMH can reclaim 289. That's the key today. Can we reclaim? It might be 290, huh? I wonder if it's 290. I think it might be 290. Yeah, I might adjust that slightly. I think it might be 290. Because you see this high right here at 290? This high from Tuesday? These lows, and all of these lows right here? I think a little adjustment there to 290 might be right. So if you can reclaim 290, right? If you can reclaim 290, these lows, this high, if you can get a little reclaim of 290, then you're off to the races on the SMH. You're back to 293 and you're possibly breaking out. That's the level I want to see hold today for SMH, 290. That or a pullback again at 285 in the daily 20. All right. That's the futures. Pretty self-explanatory on the Nasdaq today. Key level here, key level here. Look for one of those to hold. S&P, little bit questionable. Would like this back to 70, but if that Nasdaq holds, you're not getting it. Be careful of just these rejections up at these highs. You can see 6407, rejecting. Let's look at the two earnings names, Tesla and Google, while we wait for the data. So let's go to Tesla. Actually, let's go to Bitcoin real quick. So Bitcoin is still dancing here with the $120,000 level, which is so interesting, right? Just sort of consolidating, probably leading to a breakout eventually. I'd say if the market stays, if it keeps doing what it's doing, I'd say eventually you're going to get that 120 breakout. But right now, just a little bit silent, right? I would definitely have an alert, right, to know if it gets above this, just in case, because if it gets above this, you're probably going to get your next expansion move. So keep an eye on Bitcoin 120K, right? Stocks like Hood, Coinbase, MSTR, they'll get that benefit if that Bitcoin does break that 120. So keep an eye on that. Let's see if we do get that break and hold. If not, still like the gap fill idea. Back to the daily 20 here for possibly being the next opportunity. But 120 Bitcoin, definitely the stock or the level to watch. Let's go to Tesla. So Tesla did not beat the expected move. Actually, I think it was like $20, wasn't it? So it's close. It's close. Actually, it's very close for the put side. Put side might actually pay. Interesting enough. $20. Yeah, it's right there. Yeah, they might actually pay. Huh. Let's see how it opens, but put side on Tesla might actually pay. One of the first times I've seen Tesla actually beat an expected move. Typically, it's just a total IV crush, but you might get it if it opens lower than where it is now. But anyways, Tesla, right? Downside move, breaking back under the moving averages, which sort of crushes that momentum. The 336 level has been our exact level on the chart for the last week of a potential failure, and that is exactly where you fail. So right off that 336, failure going lower. I think right here between 305, 308 is a really important watch. If you take a look at this hourly chart, you can see right here 308, right here 305, right here 308, 305, 305, 305. Right, I think this area right here is going to be very, very crucial for Tesla. If you move back lower and you hold this, there could be a long opportunity. I would not say today. It would be maybe something that forms over the next few weeks, right? That sort of comes back up and fills the gap. Or if you do break under 305, you are coming back down to these lows at 295 and that daily 100 SMA, right? This would be, the move back down to this major low. My eyes here, my mind here, Tesla's absolutely more than a car company, but they can't really beat, they really can't see this perform. I don't think Tesla can just have bad EV sales and still be a very positive company. So definitely some, question marks are risen here. I mean, definitely. Like, I've sold some Tesla. I made a nice profit on it. I still hold shares, but I sold a decent amount. A lot of question marks around the stock. A lot of extracurriculars, by the CEO, right? A lot of extracurriculars, which are probably just short-term concerns. They're not something that probably affects the stock long term. But it's, it's stupid to just sort of think that it's not affecting the stock. It is affecting the stock. And that's causing, some problems. The EV credit going away is definitely a question mark in the air for me. I made sure to, I actually just leased the new Tesla Model Y, and I was making sure to do that before September 30th, which is when the $7,500 credit goes away. And I'm sure Tesla's going to get a pretty big jump in sales before, like in this first, these next few months, you'll probably get a big jump in sales as people try to take advantage of the EV credit. But once that EV credit goes away, it might be a ghost town. there's a chance it might be a ghost town. There's a lot more things that Tesla's doing. Obviously, we all know the conversation. We know the robots. We know the energy. We know the AI. We know all that. It's just I don't know if they can report bad EV sales and still get the stock to perform. All right, I feel like they need those EV sales to just sort of even out, or at least not show negative, right? So interesting. It's interesting stock. Obviously, I'm not here to talk about what you should do with your long-term shares. Just be aware of the extracurriculars and the external factors that are going on. I think that's all you really have to pay attention to. But up to you at the end of the day. This is not financial or investing advice. Just know that, some of those points are out there. So, regardless, 308, 305, big spot here. Under that, 295. We'll see, man. I've just been, for trading reasons, guys, I just don't really see the opportunity in here, right? Like, I just don't see the opportunity in this area. Basically, since May, you just don't. Here's what you have to think about, okay? You don't really want to trade Tesla unless it's on one of those Tesla moves, right? Tesla is great to trade when it's on those Tesla moves, right? Whether it's, Tesla's getting completely obliterated or Tesla is getting absolutely rocket fueled. You don't want to get involved in this when it's consolidating. And this is just a consolidation period for the stock, right? And it could extend for another few months. There's nothing saying that it's not. So that's why I've just sort of marked out this 368 to around this 290. You guys haven't seen me trade Tesla one time for the last few weeks, last almost month now. After getting sort of messed up on it last month, I basically just retired the name inside this consolidation, and I'm going to continue to do so. It's just not worth it. There's so much better stuff going on. Semiconductors are just where you should be keeping your eyes on, without a doubt. Next, Google, big earnings and big move here. What a bounce off of the 189, 190 post earnings. A beautiful hold over 195, and I want to show you guys why this is important. Because over 195, my friends, you have a major gap here. This is 195 right here. Above 195, you have technically a gap up to this candle close, which is 207, which is basically all-time highs. So you have a gap of around $10 per share on Google, which was the last earnings where we dropped $10 per share. So above 195, you are technically in a gap to 207, which is this entire area here. That's interesting. Now, I think you'll still find some potential fails at 200, 203 area, right? I still think you'll see some reactions at these daily highs and at that psychological $200 level. So you still want to be careful of that, but look at this hold over 195, which is the exact gap fill level right there, 195. So I would say Google is absolutely a top watch moving forward. I would continue to watch 195 as a pullback long opportunity. Over 200, you go to 203. Over 203, you're going to gap fill. You're going to all-time highs. Simply put. 200, 203, 208, all-time highs right up here. ATH is this right here. And I would look for pullback longs 195 if you get them. I would definitely watch Google moving forward. Probably has some juice behind it today. So let's keep an eye on it. All right, we got data in 1 minute. Let's see how the market reacts to that data. Let's see what we got here. I'll just keep the ES up here for now. We got the unemployment claims coming in 40 seconds. Press that like button. Press that like button for me. $20 seconds. Waymo? Yeah, I've never been in a Waymo. Never been in a Robotaxi either. All right. Hamish. I'll take a look at it, Chef MU. right, not much action here on the data. Not much action on the data. All right, I guess let's continue. Let me know if this thing starts moving. ES, not much. Nasdaq, not much. Basically just, yeah, right in the same spot. Okay, anticlimactic there on the data. Still below this high though, so that's sort of the, that's the concern. Still below that high. Could you, do you need this? Let's take a look at what the data was. Jobless claims 1.9 versus 1.95, which is versus 1.96. Jobless claims 217 versus 227. I mean, non-event, I guess. Non-event. All right, so let's move forward. We did Tesla. Let's go into some semis. Let's go to the SMH. Oh, we already went to the SMH. Let's go to the first semi, and that's NVIDIA. So, NVIDIA yesterday, what does it do? NVIDIA turns this previous high and these lows here, 168 to 169, turns it back into a demand low, right? Turning these highs, these lows, back into demand lows yesterday between 168 and 169. Beautiful holds, beautiful consolidation, turning that back into a low, and then, squeezing off that level. Today, we are back over 171 to 171.50, and this is going to be my spot to watch for a pullback long today. I'm going to be looking to see if NVIDIA can pull back to this zone here, pull back to these lows here, pull back to these highs right here, and if I can get a little pullback and long off the 171, 171.50, that would be my watch. If I can get that to turn, come back down, turn that into a low, right? Go to the 5-minute chart. If we can see right here, these highs, yesterday's rejection here, if we can see this come back down, turn it into a low, start to build out of it, right? That's my spot right there today. That's the same thing NVIDIA did here yesterday, right into this zone right here. I'm looking for the same thing right here today on NVIDIA. If we break under 171, not as interested, right? Could sort of fail back to the 169. Looking to see that buying step up right between that 171, 171.50. If that does happen, I would target the 174 highs. Okay? AMD, same thought process. Same exact analysis, same exact thing going on AMD, right? You can see we got back over this high at 159, back above these lows, back above these highs, and back above these highs from yesterday. If we can pull back and turn 158.50, 159 into support, right? That would be my long, targeting back to 162, right there. If we can if we can hold that level, that would be my long. If we break that, I'd say right back down to 156, target 162. This would be my pullback I'm watching at 159. I'm going to create an alert there. Is there a 173 on video? Let me see there, Jason. 173. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some rejections there at 173 area. You can see there's some highs here. Definitely. Sort of why I want to get that pullback first. Yeah, I guess you could say there's like like the 173 spot looks pretty heavy. I see that, Jason. Like right here, 173, 173, 173. That's sort of the, so we want this long here, maybe target 173 for T1 and then try to get to 174.50, something like that. So, yeah, definitely want to pull back. UNH dumping on, oh my God. This stock just can't get a break. Holy hell. Jeez. What's going on with UNH, man? Ouch. Okay. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. We went over AMD. Let's go to TSM. TSM did exactly what we wanted, and I'm very, very excited to see how this sort of sets up in the future here. TSM did our exact pullback to the gap fill, right? Back to the daily 20, and look at what's going on here, right? Daily 20 pulls back to this, these previous highs, fills that area, gets back to the daily 20, turns this back into support and rips higher. Very clear level today on TSM to watch. Very clear. You can see I have my alert set, right? Take a look at this TSM spot right there. 240, 250. You get above that. If you see something like this today, right, on TSM, you're absolutely looking for that 246 and possibly more. Definitely watching TSM today. This is pretty damn clear. Right at these highs. Right at that Monday high. If we can reclaim this Monday high right here at the 240, 250 area, right where you rejected yesterday, you get something like this, definitely a watch. So TSM, big watch there today. Broadcom, monster move. What a beautiful pullback long off the daily 20 again. Today, there's a few watches. Number one would be 288. If we can turn 288 here, 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 back into new lows, that would be the watch here today. Right? A little bit of a flag and a 288 breakout. If you break under 288, you are going to gap fill here to 282. So that's the concern I'd have on Broadcom. Just know that, right? This is a monster gap right here, right? If you break under 288, you have nothing here. And you likely see this, right? So make sure you sort of pay attention to that. 288's good, but you got to get that to hold. I would, prefer 282 to be honest. Okay, so watch those two levels. Guys, I see the UNH. I see it. You guys are all posting. I see it. All right. Next, MU. So Chef wanted to see MU. MU. We got to get back over this 114, Chef. That's been the problem for MU. I don't think it's worth even looking at until you get over this. All right, take a look at this 114. See these highs right here? Yeah. I wouldn't touch it until you get over these triple top highs. High, high, high. Look at this 114. So for me, that's a no touch until 114 breaks. Just too much failure up there. Too much potential of a lower high. I need that over. Let's go to ARM. ARM, actually one of the top watches today. ARM is doing a reclaim ripper type move here. Here's your ARM reclaim ripper look, right? So look at this. Previous highs 160. Tried to hold 160, did not, failed. What are we doing now? We're reclaiming. Watch 160 on ARM today. If ARM can turn 160 back into a hold here, I think you're going to rip back towards that 164.50. So big watch on ARM at 160 today. Let's see if that can hold. Okay. Let's go to some tech. Amazon 230, pretty easy on this one. Just watch 230. 230. This pullback at 227 yesterday was absolute money. 227, 230. That's your range. Over 230, you go 233. Let's go to Meta. Meta's actually quite interesting today, unless it gets absolutely zucked off the daily 20. You can't get zucked off the daily 20 again, right? This was interesting. Remember on Tuesday we talked about the break and hold above 713, and we said, hey, we just want to see this thing get over the daily 20. The market opens, this thing gets absolutely Zuckerberged right off the daily 20. So we do not want to see that again. If that happens, I'm not interested. I'd like to see this hold at the 710, 713, but I need to see us get back over this daily 20 level, right? Too much failure at that level. So looking to see if we can get something to build over that. Apple, I think still building that move that we've been waiting weeks for, right? And now it's actually sort of building some lower high or higher lows, right? Take a look at this. Highs, look at these lows at 212. Actually quite nice. A nice consolidation at a higher level. Not bad, right? Apple's still building. We need to get over 216.23. That's the breakout point. You can see again yesterday, it looked like it was going to get, breakout. And then what happened? Tim cooked, right? Tim cooked off the supply right there, straight down. The same thing as Meta getting Zuckerberged. So you just got to be careful at these highs. They're still really heavy on Apple. I would personally want to wait for it to get above it. Some clarity and some, I don't want to be concerned about this just getting smacked again at that high. I don't mind the pullback long at 212, though. I don't mind it. If you want to get a little aggressive, I don't mind the long here at 212. It looks pretty good. You just got to be careful of these highs. Okay? Let's go to the Bitcoin names. Let's go to coin real quick. Coin 396, big spot. This is your dream pullback at 380, to be honest. And that daily 20. That's your dream pullback there. Back over 406, I think you can get going. So watching that 406 on coin for sure. Hood, really interesting consolidation, guys. Really interesting consolidation. I would absolutely make sure you're watching this. This could be the next nice move. Watch Hood. These highs right here, right here, right here, right here. Look at the consolidation here, my friends. Please pay attention to Hood here. This is a very good pullback on Hood after sort of a frothy upside move, pulling back, coming back into these lows, right? Back into these highs, holding perfectly. Daily 20s catching up, right? Few more days of consolidation maybe, and you might get your next squeeze. Watch 99, watch 98 to 101. Big area here on Hood. Definitely keep an eye on this. Definitely watching that one. MSTR, not that interested. Needs to get back over at least the 422 and at least daily 20. So if I'm going to trade crypto names, I'm trading Hood or I'm trading coin personally. Datadog. Our Datadog setup, I still think looks great. Still holding this position. Yesterday, very strong move after that sort of panic downside. Still holding above this 142. This is really the level that I need to see hold. All right, we have a nice bullish structure here still. Previous highs into lows. Daily 20 sort of catching up. I think a few more days, right? Just going to stay patient here. Still looking good. Chart looks just fine to maintain for now. Let's go to Palantir. Sick. 145, 148, just sick. So 145 on Tuesday, 148 yesterday. Sick holds above those levels. Look at this right here, 152. This is your dream spot today. Right here. Right there. Lows, highs, 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 lows. If you can get that 152 to step up today, that's your long into the highs. 152, Palantir, that's the spot. Hims, what a move. I love Hims, man. Still riding my 1,000 shares, man. Still just, believing in the name. That's it. Just believing in the name. Still got my 1,000 shares. Yesterday was like a $10,000 day for that. So, love it. Hims, let's see what it can do today. 58 is the spot to break today. If you can get over 58, I think you go 64. I think a great pullback, just a perfect pullback would be right here. You get a pullback to that 53, 52 spot. You get a pullback to that daily 50. Oh boy, would that be pretty. Keep an eye on that right there. 52, 53, daily 50. Give me that little drop and pop back at that key level. That would be a money spot. Over 58, you fill the gap to 64. Yeah, I got no words for GEV, man. You guys know you long-term live stream viewers know there was one day, maybe about 6 months to a year ago, where we're like, I think I'm gonna buy some GEV shares. I like the idea of energy for semiconductors. I think that was back in like the 300s. And so congratulations to those that maybe bought the shares with me, up 100%. Just awesome stuff. GEV, just an absolute monster. This thing's a monster. I go to bed just fine thinking about this stock, man. Monster stock, just incredible move. Yesterday, earnings, 100-point move on earnings alone. Just a sick stock. I don't really trade this stock. I personally just don't want to trade this stock. I don't want to lose trading this stock and bite into the share glory that I have on this one. So, yeah, I'm just not a trader of GEV. Maybe a pullback here at 613 could be nice. Back to these this consolidation from yesterday. This could be something to watch here. But yeah, what I would be more interested in is see how it affects surrounding stocks in the sector. One of those would be Oklo. Oklo is definitely an interesting setup today. Take a look at OKLO. Look at this. Here's your high at 70. Here's your little inverse head and shoulder here. Look how beautiful this is. Look at this. This. Look at that. Consolidation, break, inverse head and shoulder. If you can hold 65 today, I would look for that long. 65 into 70, over 70, I think this goes. Definitely watching Oklo. CEG needed to hold over 330. Seems like it's having some trouble holding over 330. I'm just going to wait for that to get back above 330 on CEG. All right, guys, I think that's about it. Oh, last one I want to do is Netflix, and then I got to get the levels out for you guys. Haven't done that yet today, so I'll get that out momentarily. 1160, 1175 on Netflix. This is something to watch. You finally got to pull back to this major level. This could be where Netflix starts to maybe find the bounce. I would be watching Netflix here. 1160, 1175. Look at where you're coming back to. You're back into these lows, back into these highs. You're back into a very important zone. Keep an eye on Netflix here. Good pullbacks. Great cool off. It might be time to reverse this. Going to be watching Netflix today. See what it does in this 15-point zone. All right, guys. That's going to be it for me today. Nasdaq. Ooh. Okay. All right. I think you might get a little bit of, a little bit of dip if this stays true. Yeah. If we stay under that 350 spot, you might get a little more here. Look at the ES. Again, I'll reiterate, last thing I'll go, right? Last thing I'll stand by today. This is going to be your best long. I don't know when you get there, but it's going to be there. And you may need to let this drip today after this sort of straight up move. It's starting to look like you're getting that. If you fail under that 350, you might be looking for that deeper pullback today. All right, guys, if you want to trade live with me every day, check out the link below. If you want to get my key levels every day, you can check out that link down below as well. I appreciate you being here. If you could, before you head out, please press that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. You guys know the spiel. And I will see you tomorrow morning. Peace out.